Hello and welcome back to Alpha Seduction Systems, A.S.S. I'm your teacher, Jack McLean, and I am the greatest English PUA in the world. And today I'm going to be teaching you about the basics of day game. So, what is day game? Well, day game in the pickup community is all about approaching, attracting and seducing women during the day. So, for example, on your way to work, going to the gym, that's a form of day game, in the mall, just on the street, anywhere that's during the day, basically, picking up women. That, in a nutshell, is day game. Obviously, there's three different types of games. So you've got day game, which is like I've discussed. You've got night game, which is approaching women in the usual setting where you'd think about approaching women, that's such as bars, nightclubs, these sorts of places, social places. And then online game, for example, using Tinder, as you know, applications such as Tinder, Plenty of Fish, Fab Swingers, these sorts of things. So, why day game? Well, obviously it's the COVID-19 season. All bars and clubs are now shut. So, if you're new to this whole thing, then you are not going to be able to practice your night game because, well, all bars and clubs are shut due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So all there is basically is day game. And of course it would have to be even harder because it's going to be social distancing day game, which I'll get onto later. But anyway, so day game, what are the advantages of day game? Why day game? Why not just go to regular nightclubs and bars like everybody else and meet women there? Well, let me tell you. For one, the quality of women that you're going to get during the daytime are generally better than what you'll find during night game. You know, you go to bars and clubs and half the women in there are going to be howling slags, pissed out their face. They're not going to remember you the next day. You know, they've probably taken on some big black cocks earlier that week from the last club they went to. You know, they're going to be party girls. But if you're into that, such as myself, those are the type of women I generally like. I love, you know, fun, wild, crazy girls. Often, you know, they're not all bad. A lot of them are great. But generally, you are going to find better quality women during the day. So that's one advantage. The second advantage, well, it's more alpha. It's old school. If you're a true alpha male, you approach women anyway. You don't need bars and nightclubs to, you know, go and approach women. You don't need to be having a drink or waiting till they're pissed to take advantage and try and get their numbers or take them on dates. No, you can approach women just during your daily business, literally. Any time of day, that's the time to approach. I could be on the bus, on the train, driving down the road in my car. That's called sharking, by the way. So that's another type of game, but that we'll go into in another video, sharking. But that is a form of half all night game, half day game. But anyway, forget about sharking for now. But day game, literally, you can incorporate it into your daily life. Once you become a master PUA like myself, day game just becomes normal, becomes just a part of the PUA's life. So it is an absolute fundamental, if you're to become a PUA, that you learn this day game. Okay? Also, it's more romantic. You know, everybody loves that old school vibe. Everybody wants to, you know, if you were to meet your future partner who you're going to settle down with, of course, you want to say, oh, we met in such a lovely, it was a park and the breeze just flowed and I slipped on the ice and he was there to catch me and we met eyes and and that was it. These romantic sort of fantasies, they all stem generally from day game situations. So you could say it's more romantic. So yeah, those are some of the advantages. Some of the disadvantages, perhaps. Well, this day and age, of course, with social media, the internet, the amount of prevalent nightclubs that everyone goes to sort of all the time, and I mean it did in the old days as well. So I guess that's not a fact, but one of the disadvantages, you could say, women may find it to be a bit creepy. They might think, wow, who the fuck is this prick? Why is he approaching me? While I'm going about my daily business. Why is he coming up to me? They might be a bit thrown off because not many men do it. So you have to kind of know how to do it appropriately, especially, when you're a beginner, an AFC, an average frustrated chump, that is, or even worse, a WBAFC, way below average frustrated chump. Then when you approach women, especially during the day, you're going to be nervous and you're going to give off a sort of a creepy vibe, which they're going to pick up on immediately, and you're going to get a lot of rejections, pretty much, so many, I can tell you that. And that's another disadvantage. Even if you're a master such as myself, during day game, because you're doing it cold, you're going up there direct, you may not have made eye contact when you're doing direct game, which I'll come on to in a second. You're gonna get a lot of rejections. But this is where it ties into the thought of letting go, which obviously we'll talk about. But letting go of that ego, not caring, who cares if you get rejected? There's, thousands of women, on millions, billions of women on the planet. Who cares if you are rejected? You're never going to see them again. The fear of rejection is totally normal. It stems back to it's in our biology. It stems right back to sort of the caveman, hunter and gatherer days. It's in our evolution. Of course, if you lived in a small band, a small tribe of men and women, imagine now you go and approach one of the women within your tribe. There could only be 50 of them in total, and everyone talks to everyone. You're all living together, You go and approach one of them. It all goes horribly wrong. She rejects you. She laughs at you. She tells all her friends. They all see how terribly rejected you were. Now you've just been emasculated and you look like a mug. And now that's it now. Your whole seed is now cut out, because you're never going to get any mate within that tribe ever again now, basically. So, of course, back then it was very important to wait. You wouldn't want to just risk it all and approach the woman you like, because if it goes wrong, that could be it, So, of course, it's hardwired into us. So it's okay to feel that, have what's called approach anxiety, AA. That's a natural syndrome that's hardwired into our DNA to have AA, okay? But of course, there's ways to get over that. And obviously with time, practice, and letting go, we can overcome all inhibitions, all fear. Fear is a sickness, and as an alpha male, you must be rid of it. So anyway, those are some of the disadvantages. So where do we start anyway? Where do we start? How do I get going with this day game? I want to do it. It sounds exciting, but what do I do? Well, like I said, just on your average day to day, you can go out and just do some approaches. That's where it comes in, direct and indirect. So direct is generally the alpha male approach, and that's what I'll always teach to my students. Just go in there, make your statements clear, make your intentions clear. Tell that woman you like her, say, look, I want to take you on a date, whatever. Obviously, we'll go much more deeper into the interactions, how to approach, everything like this. But you want to go out there and you want to start doing approaches. But I'll tell you one thing you can do when you do your approaches, okay, is you always want to make a time constraint. Because like I said, most women on the street, when you approach them, they're going to think, who the fuck is this creep? And how the fuck am I going to get rid of him? Is he trying to sell me something? What's he going to do? They're going to be off guard, and they're going to immediately put up their guard the minute you approach them. So what you do is you make what's called a time constraint. So as you approach, you say, hey, excuse me, I've literally got a couple seconds. I've got to run and tell to meet some of my friends, but I just wanted to tell you, blah, 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 and then make a unique compliment to that girl. Don't say, oh, you're fucking fit or whatever, because that's quite generic. You want to say something such as, you know, you look really arty today, or, oh, I like those shoes. Something unique. For example, the other day I saw a girl, before all the lockdown started, was out shopping, and I saw her, and she had some brand new Nike trainers on, which looked quite cool. So I mentioned those. So it's a unique compliment. So use a time constraint and a unique compliment. That's literally a basic way you can approach. Hey, I'm in a bit of a rush, blah and blah. I noticed this and that. My name's Jack. Nice to meet you. Okay? And there it is. It's that simple. And then obviously you got mid-game, which obviously would go into on later videos much more in depth of actually when you're in the interaction. So I'll go out and I'll show you how I do approaches using, obviously at the moment we're going to be doing social distancing day game, okay? So obviously standing 2 meters distance, perhaps wearing a mask, but this can work to your advantage if you feel uncomfortable, if you're a beginner and you feel a bit self-conscious. Hiding behind a mask can help you to build up. So social distancing day game can also be a little bit of a fun joke to say mid-game as you're talking to them, you know, oh, social distancing day game. Obviously you don't say day game, because remember, this whole thing is a secret. You don't want to know tell women the game that you're playing, you know. This is all a facade, you know. You want to make it look as natural as possible. So anyway, yeah, of course there's that. There's DHVs, which are demonstrations of high value. So as you're talking, you want to, even just literally approaching them and being direct, that right there is a demonstration of high value, okay? So you want to demonstrate to that woman why you are an alpha male, okay? And there's many ways to do that, which we will discuss. Of course, there's Keno, shit test, mirroring. There's so much stuff, okay, to go into it, but I'm not going to go into it all today on this video. Obviously there will be other videos where I'll go far more in depth and teach you guys, okay? And then obviously once you've chatted to them, you know, you want to chat to them for a bit, so get to know them. Just talk to them, yeah? Go out there, approach women, use a time constraint, unique compliments, just have a little chat with them, a few minutes, but try not to rush out of there. Don't rush to the close, okay? But obviously, once you've chatted to them, you know, you want to then close. Closing that's when you want to get a number, or you want to can possibly take them on an instant date. So if they don't seem busy or anything, you can say, hey, let's go grab a coffee right now. Or let's go over to that juice bar. There's a lovely sushi place over there. Fancy going over there and having a sushi? Do you know what I mean? You can take them on a date right there and then, okay? Even better, you can get what's called an SDL. Now this is the master. I do this quite often myself. Well, not often, but I do it, you know. And an SDL is a same day lay, okay? So that means you're meeting them, you're taking them on an instant date, and then you're banging them right there that day, the moment you've met them, because you know you've seduced them so well, you've become so alpha that you can just literally walk out on the street, meet a girl that you like, take them home and pummel them. You know, this is what this stuff is all about, guys, okay? And this is what I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to show you. Of course, I'm not going to show you the actual sex itself. when they come to my house, I may have some hidden cameras and things, but obviously their faces will be blanked out. But I will demonstrate that this stuff is possible. The whole world is your playground, okay? And you can make of it what you want. What you dream it, it's real. So anyway, yeah, in a nutshell, that is day game, okay? It's going out, it's approaching girls during the daytime, getting their numbers, taking them on dates. Remember also, when you get their number, always try and give them a date plan right there and then. So say if I get a girl's number, I won't just get the number and leave with it. I'll say, so as I get the number, we'll go out for a coffee or something that you've talked about during that interaction. You can mention to go on a date. So say she likes sushi, you could say, oh yeah, definitely, we'll go out for a sushi. That way when you go and message them later or talk to them or phone them, whatever, and plan that date, you've already got the date kind of planned, okay? But obviously we're going to go into that as well about text game, okay? Because that's a whole nother thing. And a lot of guys, this is what happens. You'll get all these numbers, yeah, and then you'll get all the girls flaking out on you. So you'll get the number, you'll text them, and then they might not even text back, or you'll text them, you're texting for a while, and then it will just dead, and the date never materializes, and it can get quite frustrating. It did for me when I was an AFC. You know, you're like, oh, you put in all this work, but you're not getting anywhere. But remember, guys, you just have to stick with it. Okay, and that leads me to the last thing I'm going to tell you, which is your homework for the next month, okay? Or the next, yeah, let's say a month, okay? It's called the 100 Approach Challenge, and this is a challenge that I made up myself, actually, and I'll be showing you guys throughout the course all my approaches, okay? So basically, what I want you to do is I want you to get a chart, okay? Make a chart, yeah? The 100 Approach Challenge, and I want you to stick it on your wall. And in this chart, you're going to write down every day your approaches that you do, if you close or if you're rejected, okay? So you write down, you tick it off, tally it off, approach 1, okay? And then next to it, whether you closed or whether you were rejected. I want you to also write down in a separate chart the amount of approaches that you missed, that you pussied out from, okay? Now that's very important, because you see this graph, it doesn't matter, even if you get 100% failure rate out of them all, from this you'll be able to gauge where you're at, okay? So it could take you a month to do it, but if you've got more time, you go out more often, okay? Just go out as much as you can, or just during your daily life, whenever you're walking down the street, you're on the bus, if you see a girl that you like, okay, obviously not one you don't have to be any girl, but any girl that you think, oh, she's attractive, I could go on a date with her, I could smash her, or I could possibly marry her, whatever, if you see them, you tally it down, whether you approached. If you failed the approach, you tally it that you failed. See, that way you can gauge your percentage. So after your 100 approaches, if you get, let's say, 10 closes, and that means a number close or an instant date or an SDL, yeah, that's a close, you tally that, okay? And then if you get rejected, you tally that as well. So if you do 100 and you get 90 rejections, but you get 10, say, closes, you get 10 numbers out of it, it doesn't matter if you don't get any dates out of the numbers anyway, because this is just the basics, okay? But you now say, right, I've got a 10% hit rate, okay? So it's a great way. And then also, you'd be able to see, oh, if I saw 1,000 women during that month who I would have approached, but I only approached 100, you're only taking advantage of 10% of your potential. Because imagine if you approached every single one of those girls that you saw out there on the street, but you pussied it out because you're not an alpha male, you're a beta male. But that is what we are here at A.S.S. That's what we're here to remedy. We are turning WBAFCs into MPUAs. master pickup artists, just like me. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit out of that about some of the basics of day game. We're going to be going into way more to come, so stay tuned, everybody, and stay safe during the pandemic, and stay healthy, and stay alpha.